Okay, so uh, with great anticipation, uh, last thing I was saying in the last video was that my CloneyDrone makes Cherubim, which is God's throne, and that's actually, I mean, for an inventor, that's a heck of a lot better than Tesla making those piece of shit crap back in World War II. Remote control stuff, dude. That's some crap. For an inventor, my CloneyDrone making it all the way, and then that 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 is what it is because like I said, there's only a couple of things going on in the entire universe right now. There's only a couple, and one is the neo Nazis are trying to unhack the secrets of the universe. One boson at a time, and the CIA and the NSA connect to 9/11 and Pumapunku and these flying saucers and how they're using it how they're doing that stuff to try to unhack the secrets of the universe. But I know how to unhack the secrets of the universe. You just got to do good Christian science. And if you deny and that's when you're going this hard at stuff, is that the truth was that God Himself was the creator. God is a creator. And then between, like, I don't even honestly know, because sometimes it's like it says that like Jesus made everything the Lord made everything in it, and then who was the Lord was God, Jesus, or whatever. Uh, I don't know, but it's just that like it does seem like the four living creatures connect to the cherubim, and they're connected to these wheels. The four living creatures are themselves very much connected to these wheels, and and like it says in Ezekiel 1 and Revelation 4, is it either Revelation 4 or Ezekiel 1, is that they themselves are being watched, and they're watching. They are watchers, and they are being watched, and they are watching. They are watching, and they are being watched, and they are watchers because they're using my democratic technology. And probably one of the reasons why they move so well is because that is like when you're being watched and watching, you are the strongest person out here. And then it's just like this level that when you get to this level, you are great. When you get to this level, you are watched, and you are being watched, and you are watching, and you are being democratic, and you are watched. You are watched yourselves. You have accountability over your own head, and you are watching, and you are using the power invested. You are great. You are holding yourself to you are holding yourself above reproach. You're holding yourself to accountability. You are great. And God uses these things in the cherubim. God uses this invention for his throne. I was wondering if God I was wondering, like, honestly, like what God was going to think about this stuff. And then when I come to look at all the stuff and all the stuff that was out there at the time, it really made me think that, like, one is that I stand almost completely by myself as an inventor. As an innovator, I am myself standing alone. And I'm talking about time travel. I'm talking about mind, body, spirit applications. Mind, body, spirit applications and time travel. Uh, I am great. I have great faith. I have great faith, and I'm my inventions are over my head, but it's not outside of it's not off my plate. There's time. Matthew 24:36 and Matthew 24:32. There's time. There's time, and it shows up in history. There's time. There's time. Matthew 24:36 and Matthew 24:23. Matthew 24:23. There's time. There's just time. You can't mess with how much time there is. There's time. But the ending is near. And then you behave as if it was your last day, as if you were being watched. You behave as if you're being watched, as if it was your last day. But you're not being watched. You're not being watched. You're not being stalked. You're not being followed. You're not being stalked. But all of the things on the planet are retrievable and findable with this time traveling super camera. Doesn't even it itself can have it itself can be a time machine with an iPhone camera on it. It could be a time machine with an iPhone camera on it. It's not even about literally. It's not even just about how the camera is going to be a powerful camera. The cameras, the vision, it's how it can see all around itself. It can just be a few iPhone cameras, honestly, for what it is. It doesn't even need to be crazy, but the time travel, that's the crazy part. But anyway, so unpacking Daniel. We'll see if my video cuts out. Because, like I said, it's like I'm being tapped. This feed is being tapped by the Antichrist. But yeah, so Daniel 2 talks about the king's dreams. Daniel 7 talks about the Antichrist. And that stuff that's first mentioned in Daniel, you'll find it again in Revelation. And that is actually just the thing of the bear and the leopard. The thing of the bear and the leopard. And then the bear always being separate from the leopard. And so it's like when you're unpacking Daniel 7 and that stuff, I mean, and then the bear and the leopard, and then there's again the and then Revelation 4, the 4 living creatures, which one of them is like one of them's a lion, one of them is an ox, one of them was a man, and the other one was an eagle. An eagle. And there's the eagle in the 4 living creatures. There's the bear. There's the bear on there's the bear on the Antichrist. There's the symbolism of the bear on the Antichrist twice. Once in Daniel 7, once in Revelation 13. And then there's the eagle twice. Once on the 4 living creatures, and once on the Antichrist. I think. Let me double check. But there's so much to talk about with this stuff. The feet of a bear, mouth of a lion. In the mouth of a lion. So there's the lion again. So he's got the mouth of a lion, the feet of a bear, and he's in the beast, which I saw like unto a leopard. Like unto a leopard, and his feet were like a bear, and his mouth was like a lion, and then the dragon, the dragon, which would be Satan, that's always going to be Satan, gave him his power and his seat and his great authority. Lies. His power and authority is literally, when you unpack it, it's not. It's when the Bible uses these words like kingship and greatness and authority. But it's like, I mean, Bill Gates is a king. Bill Gates is a guy. Obama's a king. Obama's a guy. Vladimir Putin's a king. Vladimir Putin was a guy. Vladimir Putin was the president of the president of communism. He's just a guy. He's a king. And Obama was just the president of the United States. He's a king. Bill Gates is just a guy. He's a king. Elon Musk is just a puppet. He's a king. Robert Iger is a puppet. He's a king. These are the kings of the earth right now. And then the rest of this is about how Revelation is about how everyone bumps into me. Ezekiel is about how everyone bumps into me. And I was going to humble everybody. And so who are these kings, or are these kings people that go from, you have to kind of follow along with me a little bit, but the Antichrist pops up right here with a mortal wound. He comes out of the sea with a mortal wound. It's probably because I have a way of humbling people. I'm the time traveling president. Blah blah blah. I'm still probably going to be polygamist. Probably. There was a lot of time. I was going to be great, but I don't. King or whatever. I don't know, dude. Democracy, America, democracy, freedom, balance, structure. I don't know. I mean, I can be if you guys want to do kings with that, that's fine. But let's get the America screwed back on first. Then we can talk about kings and queens and stuff. Blah blah blah. These kings that pop up in Daniel 7, these are kings that are alive right now. And these kings that pop up in Revelation, these are kings that were going to be alive right now and then not after. So there's a couple things you want to know to scrape off like the how it's written. It's written in tangled web of it's written in tangled web of lies. It's not it itself is cutting through it, but it is written itself in the form of actually like cryptic secrecy, crypticism and secrecy and a little bit of trickery. It's because like I said, like this guy is just he deserves it. His throne is built on absolute Satanism, which is just lies about reality. He is like Truman is not a king. He is a secret little pussy fart, dude. He inherited all this stuff, and I mean, you guys can't move an inch. You guys can't do anything. Vladimir Putin already stepped down. And then that's what, Daniel 7 predicts is that Littlefoot, and then here we go, it's just talking about these dreams. I'm skipping around a little bit, but Littlefoot, that little horn stands for Littlefoot and how Truman's out here reading my mind every day. And he's hiding his mind reader that I make for him so that he doesn't go to hell. He's reusing my mind reader on his foot and lying about whether or not he's reading my mind. He's Littlefoot, and that's a symbol of Truman running into me as his little horn for screwing Dickie. He's got this little horn for screwing Dickie, and then he's got these other 10 horns. And he's got this little horn for screwing Dickie, and then these 10 great horns of blasphemy. At least I'm guessing it's going to be somewhat blasphemous. But you have these 10 horns of, I don't know, 10 horns, crowns. His horns 10 crowns. Something. So maybe the horns represent kings or something. I'm not really sure, honestly. But the little one in Daniel is about screwing Dickie. And that's the one that gets you in trouble. That's the one that always gets you in trouble. Is the one for screwing Dickie. And you always get wiped out, and you all like in Revelation 13, like you get wiped out so quickly, and in Daniel 7, you get wiped out so quickly. Daniel 7 is like, dude, as soon as I saw him, he got wiped out. But he is the greatest enemy. He is the greatest enemy of all time, but he gets wiped out really quickly and easily, and swiftly. So, but while saying that, I don't know every time that the Bible talks about the likeness of a lion, the likeness of a leopard, the likeness of a bear is like, there is like one that I do know for sure. And it is the leopard. It's the supple leopard, basically. And that leopard is a symbol for Pumapunku. And the Pumapunku, and the way I know is because the Pumapunku is a rapture site. That's why that stuff is interesting. Pumapunku is a rapture site for Jesus Christ and bringing back and for saving all the people who didn't believe without seeing. All the people who didn't believe without seeing go this stinky route, this stinky eat crap route, or you can eat stink and eat crap by yourself, pretty much, and take the Pumapunku route. And Douche Mega finds no greater glory than to serve the Lord that way, to make sure everyone does make it home. Honestly. So that's how you can know what's going on. Pumapunku is a rapture site for the worst for the worst of the worst. And they make it home. And it's just like at the end of Ezekiel 48. The very last verse of Ezekiel 48 says, and the temple will be named the Lord is here, being the Lord Jesus Christ is here with his people, with the people, with his family, with his great, great, great family. And it's wonderful God stuff. Wonderful, wonderful God stuff in his church, and it's worth celebrating. And it's worth having awesome celebrations and all this stuff. I mean, it was quite a task in God's Lamentations and all this stuff. It's quite a task, but it's super worth it. And everybody gets the sweet spot, dude. Everybody gets the sweet spot. God made it real balanced. And it's really cool. So yeah, but it's yeah. So let's go. That stuff is awesome. But there's, like I said, if there's one thing I know is that leopard is always Eric Andersen. And it was either between that leopard, that supple leopard, Pumapunku, was always going to be between Truman's mom, that was going to be one heck of a story. Between the cougar being Truman's mom, or the cougar being Truman's non-wife target. That he's been trying to get at this whole time, but not even his own wife, just his sister-in-law. And he calls her sister all the time, all that stuff. He's this creepy uncle. He's probably where the term creepy uncle came from. But there are creepy uncles too. So you're one of the creepy uncles. You're one of those creepy uncles that's like, you don't really know what the hell he's doing all the time, I guess, or something. You gotta freaking kick him out, dude. And then that, I've looked it up, dude. There's 2 reasons for divorce, according to the New Testament, for a New Testament Christian. And one of them is creepy uncleism. Sexual immorality. So if your spouse is having sex with somebody else, you can get a divorce. Your spouse dies, you can get a divorce. Some of these people who stay married to their spouse, that's incredible. After they die, it's like you can remarry if you want to. And then that's just the thing about life and God and all that stuff is while it's here, you get it while it's here. And when it's gone, we're doing something else. And then this life was short. This one was short. But you can't force it closed. Just because Paul says that the end is near doesn't mean that there's a single thing you can do about when the end is going to be. The end is completely in control by the Father only. Completely in control by the Father only. And then that one is Matthew 24:36. And then that one is Matthew 24:20. That is Matthew 24:36. And then Matthew 24:23 is that, just like if people say, oh, there's the Christ, it's the second coming, blah, blah, it's time to be done, or whatever. It's time to do something new. Don't believe them, because it's you'll know when it happens. So to go deeper into unpacking Daniel, as I rabbit trail around, I'm sorry, there's so much crazy information. It's just for a scatterbrain, you got to pretend like you have a functioning scatterbrain right now, and then you got to take all this stuff that I'm saying. You got to compartmentalize this stuff in your brain. So here we go. Compartmentalize. Let's try to go through Daniel, straight through Daniel. But Daniel connects to Revelation. Revelation connects back to Ezekiel, and it all connects back to this story, which is this epic odyssey between me and Truman. And basically, let me start saying this. So, like, Daniel talks about the pieces of the Antichrist being like his teeth are like iron, and he has these 10 great horns and all this stuff. But the reality of all that stuff is that that's him. Like, basically, whatever you think of that guy right now that is how Daniel is describing him. So you take one good look at that guy, and then you tell me that that's what you see is teeth of iron, a mouth of a lion. You tell me this man has a mouth of a lion. Uh, you know, nobody sees that, but it is you, because the rest of this, because he says, well, you've got like you look like you look like a leopard, and you look like you're going after Pumapunku. And Pumapunku belongs to like Jesus Christ. But it happens to have that real like slang on it because I made it. It's because it's owned, it's like property owned by me, but it's used for the Lord. And it's like damned property. It's like not even holy property. But it is it is the property that belongs to me, and that's how I can explain all this stuff to you, and nobody else can even come close to it. The next best thing everybody's saying is ancient aliens. I have all this stuff. I'm explaining all this stuff. You guys are saying ancient aliens, and that's the NSA, CIA, and CERN. So here we go. So connecting these dots. So the leopard is always going to be Pumapunku, there are three people that can say that Pumapunku belongs to them, and one of them is Truman's mom. The other one is maybe Truman's mom, because we don't know. Maybe Pearl, maybe me, definitely me. So it's definitely mine. It might be Pearl's, it might be Truman's mom's. Just depending on how the story shakes out. And it's all shakes out into a binary. It all shakes out into like one little drop. Everything comes to a conclusion. There's nothing that gets left open-ended, which is like what happened back there and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff gets absolutely solved for with time travel and cameras and science and computers. Those CloneyDrones, they don't leave anything left. The grass equation, all that stuff, nothing gets left to chance, and all this stuff goes through democracy and a clear cut, godly order democracies. Those things work next to God. And and all these people that work with it, they work for the Lord, God. So the leopard's always going to be Pumapunku, and these things, and the leopard's always going to represent Pumapunku. That's one hard thing, and then the one thing is that Pumapunku, there is one person that Pumapunku does not belong to, and it is the one person that it is always attached to in the scripture, which is the Antichrist. So Truman, I would say that God has a way about talking about Truman's denial. Truman's been out here nuking us. He's been Truman's denial. It's that the Pumapunku never belongs to the Antichrist, and it shows up on the Antichrist twice. And then in the first mention, it shows up on the Antichrist, and so do two other positions that I would say are probably held by Pearl. It's just like probably like when you're talking about like the symbolism of a lion, in regards to other animals and creatures, in like a female sense, in like a female order, a female sense, is that lion might be Pearl. So the lion's mouth and the leopard's body and the bear, that's all Pearl. The bear, the leopard, and the lion being Pearl, and Pearl. Maybe, and I don't really know, but that's how, like, if you're like playing Sudoku, it's like that's how it kind of seems like it shakes out. I could be wrong about the four living creatures, but it's just that what I see about the four living creatures is that they are bathed in CloneyDrone. They're bathed in CloneyDrone, and they profess the name, and they work seamlessly with the Lord. And in Wikipedia says that somehow they're even tied to the cherubim. That is how to read that. That they're tied with the cherubim. That's the highest of God's order. but that's probably not without my inventions. That's probably not even without me. It's probably not without me at all. I'm still a willing participant. I don't know. I was a man, and I was a great man, and I was a little bit Jewish. But that's my invention right there. That's at least my invention right there. So that's not me with it and all that stuff. And then the invention that went back and gave everybody extra life and extra time to think really good and hard about Jesus. That was the whole point of that thing. That was what that thing does. Gives everybody time to think about Jesus. So to start to talk about Truman. So it's just to get started with the dream stuff in Truman. Truman is a desolator. Truman desolates. Truman causes desolation. And Truman has denial. Because that leopard does not belong to him in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you just came out of there, like maybe you got maybe literally you like trying to get scooped up in one of those things way at the end, but like you don't make it or something. There's maybe that, but that's all I'm saying is that space is the heck that belongs to God or me. And then it belongs, and it was always me, and it's always how it's like I can say it was about Truman's mom or Pearl, and it's just part of this whole story and this whole situation and the whole thing being like starting and ending kind of with this whole thing, which is this four-way relationship between me, Truman, Pearl, and Supple Leopard. I'm just calling her Supple Leopard for right now. Me, Truman, Pearl, and Supple Leopard. It's just not fair. None of it is fair. And and then this whole thing is about how you get a fair chance. Truman gets a fair chance at everything he wants, and nobody around him gets a fair chance at what they want. When Truman is attempting to get what he wants, nobody can get what they want. And then we do this thing for about 10 years, where Truman gets to try everything he wants to do for 10 years. And then after the 10 years, you'd notice that, we almost lost everybody. We almost lost everything and everybody. We lost George Floyd. We lost Rayshard Brooks. We lost almost everybody. We lost Putin. They dropped Putin. You almost impeached Trump. You almost impeached Donald Trump. Didn't let him run again. He's like the only guy that can save us right now. Biden is like, I don't even know. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, by the time it comes down to it, Obama was black. So you're probably going to lose Obama. And then I don't know who else is like even Daniel 7 says like three, like the little horn, like you bumping into Dickie, like makes you lose 3 of your horns. And one of them is Putin. One of them is Vladimir Putin. If there's actually, one guy that you might actually fear and respect almost in an equal plane, especially for a communist and a dictator, is Vladimir Putin. You fear these other guys because they're freaking crazy, but like you might actually fear and respect Vladimir Putin. I don't know what it is about him. But you lost Putin back there. You already lost Putin. I'm not saying these days enough. It's Friday, July 3rd, 2020, and you lost Putin way back there before. You lost Putin way back there in 2019. During the impeachment. You lost him back during the impeachment process. You already lost Putin. They think that the kings of the earth prophesied in Revelation are other people other than like people like Putin. No, they're probably people like Putin. Putin is worth trillions of dollars. Putin is worth trillions and trillions of dollars and blah, blah, blah. He's a king. And he's stealing from everybody. He was sucking everybody dry. He quit. And Pearl's doing vagina porn. And all that stuff literally started happening like at this time. It was like when Putin quit, that's when Pearl started doing vagina porn. Same exact time. It was around November 2019. All that stuff. The orders started shifting. Trump made some moves, and so did I, all at the same time. And Meghan Markle started doing stuff, and that's why I say to Pearl is if you make it to here, please check the tabloids about Meghan Markle. And back at the time, back around November, look at the tabloids starting around November 2019. She is herself dangling. She is herself a dangling soul. A dangling soul in the Kingdom of England. And the Queen of England is like, I don't really know if she's what's going on with all that stuff, but she's a dangling soul. We got to pick her up. Just look at the tabloids. That's probably pretty much why I'm actually here right now. Is actually because I was trying to explain that to my dad, and he was not understanding. And you can't say no to Meghan Markle. That's basically how it goes. So, anyway, 2010 to 2020, and for the four of us, for me, Pearl, Truman, and Supple Leopard, it's a story of fairness being a story of unfairness, really. Is that 3 dreams wind up on that mural outside of Truman's apartment out there in Chicago. And I don't know how you can tell. I don't know how I can tell. I can just tell you that. And look at there they are, those apocalyptic visions. And there's one of a bull, which that one's mine. That was my night terror that I had. And then the other 2 are night terrors that were given to Pearl and Supple Leopard. And Pearl was given the night terror about the nukes. And that's why she's a bear. Just because the process of elimination, it's actually not even that hard. One of them was mine. The other 2 were going to be the girls. My night terror is about Truman coming out here and doing all this stuff. I think it's probably after he gets out of jail and does Christian service. He comes out here and tries this stuff. And I never see his face. That's how I know it's from the Lord. It's because Truman, the vision of Truman, give it to me, is that he never shows his face. That's such a cowardly thing. He never, ever, 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 ever shows his face. And so here he is, he never shows his face, but then what is he has this horn that speaks great things. He has this mouth of a lion. It doesn't fit his. You have to unpack the symbolism. Is that he's in denial. He's experiencing great denial. The leopard is definitely Pumapunku, and Daniel 7 is he comes out with pearl, pearl, and pearl on his lips. Pearl, pearl, and pearl on his lips, and that's just what he's trying to. That is just absolutely what he is out here to try to do, is to do pearl, pearl, and pearl. And he nukes in the process. He tries nuking in the process. Pearl, pearl, pearl can't do it, and he tries nuking in the process. Unless he can, and I don't really know. It's I don't think that's the story. Unless he can, and he's got this great relationship and blah blah. All of their problems always wind up in my lap, and they wound up in my lap twice. They won't wind up in my lap a third time, dude. All of your stuff winds up in my lap. Pearl is doing vagina portal on me right now. Why? Why did you introduce us at the wedding? Why is she doing vagina portal on me now? And that's like I said, Putin stepped down and she started doing this all at the same time. She's literally started, she was doing something that she was not doing before. She started doing 24/7 vagina portal. Right at the time that Putin stepped down. And at the time that tides were shifting. And that's the whole thing about now, is tides are shifting. These kings are going to be uprooted for the glory of the Lord. These kings are going to be uprooted. There will not be shifty, shady kings stealing from the markets and the economy the national debt and all this stuff that's going on. I mean, absolutely right now, nothing was going to happen after this. Nothing like that kind of stuff was going to happen after this, and this would all be the potluck for the glory of the Lord. And this, in His great Christian way, treat your neighbor. His great Christian politics, treat your neighbor. Jesus is not a politician. He's a philosopher, and he is himself just great, and he is God, Son of God. But anyway, so the mural that we're talking about, the mural, back in Chicago, is that's my dream out there. That's my nightmare. My nightmare that God gave me to warn me about Truman and all this stuff. You think all this stuff and all this stuff in the Bible about him. All this stuff. God was completely ready for this guy, and all this stuff. We're completely ready for all this stuff. It's completely in God's hands. It's completely going to get taken care of this way. So I mean, just like as soon as this video gets views, is that I'll know that Truman is alone. For probably from now on. Then there's your mortal wound, is that this video was gonna hit the news, I believe, and then Truman, you will be gone forever, and you deserve it. You deserve it. Your best case scenario is something where you got everybody to basically get in trouble and harass and steal and harass from the national debt and all that stuff, and get in major trouble and breach of security and all this stuff. Your best bet is that you got people to stalk me, and that was terrible. That was blasphemy. And they're all everybody. You'd have everybody taking dirty money and just filling up on all this dirty money. That is absolutely unacceptable. That's absolutely unacceptable. And then so basically it's just like the players and all this stuff is like there's the 4 living creatures, and then these ones work with the cherubim. You might want to figure out who these ones are. There's like one of them's an eagle, one of them's an ox, one of them's a man, one of them's a lion. You might want to just figure out who they are. And they're all bathed in the CloneyDrone stuff. And then what happens after that is that you see almost the same exact stuff pop up again, but all up on the Antichrist. And he's all up about this stuff and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. He's got this little bitty horn that gets him in trouble. And that's basically when he said, hey, you want to stalk Dickie? When he comes at you, he's like, hey, you want to stalk Dickie? That's that little horn that's going to get you up in some trouble, dude, and then you're going to get wiped out. When you start saying you want to stalk Dickie, that's going to get you wiped out, and you always get wiped out so quickly. So I think I'm actually about done with this video. It's like just to do some repetitions. Is like Truman. It's like you can either have Truman can be happy, or everyone can be happy. That's like how it works, because like he got himself tangled up with me. And being my enemy, and then wind up being the enemy of God and all this stuff, like all up in just like poof, 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 like fireworks all up in one day. But it's that he deserved it, and it's like Truman can be happy, or the entire universe can be happy, and that God spends all this attention on this guy. It's like not even worth it, because he's such a piece of garbage, gambler. But either Truman can be happy or everyone can be happy. And that seems like that's how it works. And then the rest of it is about how, like, I saw this mural, it had one of my dreams on it. The other two have to be the girls. The leopard has to be Puma Punku. Puma Punku has to be mine. So, and then it's mine, and it's definitely not yours. So there you are, run off. I mean, right away, first thing in the morning, Revelation 13. Second verse 2 is and the beast which I saw was like unto Puma Punku. First thing in the morning, dude, is like you're going after my stuff again. And it's just you can't run off and get away with all this stuff too gosh darn many times, dude. So, man, that's just it makes me, we'll say, anxious. All your stuff always winds up in my lap, and it can't do that unless it is my business. Your stuff can't keep winding up in my lap repeatedly over and over and over unless it's my business. The end. Period. It doesn't have. That's not possible. Your stuff winding up in my lap over and over and over unless that was my business. You know, I don't quit. I do not play football to make a distinction that I don't give a damn about football. But family is a different thing, and that was what football did, is it made the distinction between what was family and what was family and what was not. What was family and what was not. It is family now. Because we're talking about all this time and all this future and all this stuff. And offspring and kids. And you're talking about 10 horns of blasphemy. What do you, all that stuff is just your own personal stuff. It's your own personal stuff, and you're on your own personal day doing all this personal stuff. And it's becoming my business over and over and over. And even your mom is saying, "Well, Dickie, you're gonna have to forgive Truman." Even your mom is saying, "Dickie, you have to forgive Truman." Why is she saying that? Why would she say that unless it was really true? Is that, I mean, you yourself are about to get in a lot of trouble. So it's time to go smoke. It's time to do all this stuff. It's time for me to get back more to my own business. Daniel starts to talk about the Antichrist in chapter 7. And and all the symbolism connects to Chicago. It connects to the mural in Chicago. It connects to all of our nightmares. My nightmare being of Truman. Pearl's nightmare being of Truman. Supple Leopard's nightmare being of Truman. Shiesty Veeps. The eagle represents Shiesty Veeps. The bear represents the nukes and nukeism and all this stuff like 9/11. The bear represents 9/11 and the nukes. And the eagle represents Shiesty Veeps. And the bull represents basically how this works out for me, is that, I mean, no one can do this stuff and prosper. No one can do this stuff and prosper. And then here you are, to me, you just look like a rapist. And Jesus says, woe to pregnant mothers and nursing mothers. I mean, I think it's because you put off a nice rapist vibe. You're just like this crazy freaking rapist. And I have enough to balance everything. I have enough to balance absolutely everything. Everything is going to be peachy, hunky, absolutely dory. It's going to be wonderful. But, you know, it's just like this stuff you get started right off the gate. That's those murals. Those are nightmares. Those are night terrors. And those three murals. Probably why that mural is probably why this particular video, once it gets loaded off and shot out, and it's gonna hit the news, because I connected three night terrors in an impossible way. You don't know, the girls that actually were the ones who actually didn't know who the third one was. I do, because I know the other two wasn't Truman and Truman. It was gonna be the girls. And mine was a bull. My night terror was a bull. Pearl's night terror was 9/11 and the nukes. And all that being very bare. And then Supple Leopard's night terror was Shiesty Veeps. Being the thing that got the whole thing started in the first place, and why I can't tell why Puma Punku stands for Truman's mom or Pearl. Is because you really can't tell. And then there's this whole nice soft spot for Jezebel right there. That's like, you know, it's like I said, it's like, you know, Olay, Olay, why not? Blah, blah, blah. Bring this guy through my door. He can't do, there's no way he's capable of doing anything positive. Except helping me out. Like, helping me out of destruction itself. I was already destroyed. He didn't have to do anything. But it's about how he gets destroyed. He gets caught with the nukes. And then he gets caught in this whole tangled web of stuff, and it literally all comes crashing out as soon as I'm done. But he goes out and he tries to lie again. He tries to lie even harder, and then that's why you show up twice in Revelation, or twice in the Bible as a rapist. And then it doesn't even matter. It looks like it's you. It looks like it's you first day 2020. Looks like it's you January 1st, 2015. You January 1st, 2015 being the same as you post YouTube videos. How do you maintain the same lifestyle? Post 2015, post YouTube videos. It's just because you are founded on denial itself. So all that stuff, that stuff makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of meta sense. It's connected really, really quite intricately. You're in denial and all that stuff. It's like the whole freaking thing I think it is probably about how instead of the lady with the German sounding last name saying yes to Hitler and the Antichrist, it's about how these people said no to these people actually, and then they freak out and do things like nuke and kill all the Jews. And a nice square, just like little trinket right there. So watch out. This video right here was gonna hit the news. Prophesied through my dreams, through Eric Andersen's dreams. This video right here is 45 minutes. It was 2 parts and 45, like 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes each. They both get news. They both hit the news. They hit the news is like what it is. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I mean, I think that means that the public ends up hearing about it, and it becomes news. So that's my guess. Is the public ends up hearing about it, it becomes news. That's my prediction from here about this stuff. So I gotta take care of some business. I gotta eat. I gotta do all this stuff. I'm really getting sick and tired of all this stuff. But this stuff is really helping. Is like every time I do a video, it's a lot of deniability that goes out the window. You can't really have too much darn deniability and be watching this stuff. But yeah, so that's what it's all about. I might have been missing something, but Daniel is a much bigger book than Ezekiel. It's like a quarter of the size, but it is much greater. It is much big. And then Ezekiel is all about God's love with his Israelites. But Daniel is about all this crazy stuff. And all this stuff. And it's even about stuff that's about to come now. It's even about the times of now. And then the times of now being reasonably so. Is that a lot of gravity and a lot of, or just a lot of stuff gets passed on through time. And so for things to get more and more kind of crazy and crazy. That's kind of fun. But yeah, Daniel's book is much more interesting. And it's about how God is just like Nebuchadnezzar's like, save me from all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. These things pretty much themselves probably pretty much come from the Lord. The dreams being so mystical and all that stuff that people always think that dreams come from like something from like God. And then it might always be, dude. And Nebuchadnezzar's like, save me from this stuff. And he's like, let me build this whole order of people. And the first thing in the morning, I'm going to ask these guys, interpret my dream. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. And God's like, okay, I'll play with you with this. Yeah, just play with you with this. Here's Daniel explaining it to you. You don't like it. The next thing you know, I don't want people praying. I don't want people doing any of this stuff. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm going to burn these guys. And God's like, no, you won't burn these guys, dude. God's like, no. And then he's like, Daniel goes in the den, dude. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego going up in the furnace. And God's like, no, you won't do any of this stuff, dude. And then Nebuchadnezzar ends up like eating flies and going nuts because he himself is in denial. That is what a guy in denial looks like. That is what an abomination who lies about God and his people and his keepers and his kingdom. That is what they look like. They look like Nebuchadnezzar. Truman is going to look like Nebuchadnezzar. He's going to look like Nebuchadnezzar, denying the truth itself in a clear and open democracy, in a binary democracy. You know, in a unanimous democracy, you're going to look like this guy who eats flies. Because you think you're God. But you can't do it. You can't break the fabric. You really can't. You can't break the fabric of reality, being your DNA and all this stuff. Your connection line to reality. You can't break it. Some of this stuff, down into the very, very bottom here, God just made it just like this, dude. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's my stuff or not, honestly. But it's about how, like, Pearl gets used a lot. And one of the things she's doing is, like, one of the things that happens is, like, she ends up behaving like Satan in a way right now. And the verse in Daniel says, like, the lion that whatever turns in, like, loses its wings and turns into a snake, and then is given the mind of a man, and then you gotta, like, go on your own. So, like, it's possible that is what is going on right now, honestly. It just depends on, because it depends on how everybody's behaving about Truman. Is if they're going with Truman stuff and trying to play both ways, is like, you're gonna get your wings cut off, you're gonna slurk around on the like a belly of a snake, like Satan. Just like Satan lost his great power and authorities, you, Pearl, will lose all your great power and authority, just like it says. And your power and authority, I mean, you can do vagina portal on me, and I can't do anything to stop it. I don't understand what the deal is with that. But the other thing is that you're doing mind reading. So I don't know. I don't really know how to look at it. I know it ends up coming down to a binary 1 or 0. But it's about how, like, you're using my technology. You're using my mind reading technology. You might even, I don't know if that vagina portal, I don't know if I made that. I don't understand it. I don't really understand it. But I know the mind reading stuff, I made it, which means that I gave it to you for a reason. And it could be just to help you get out of that position where you end up turning to the belly of a snake and all that stuff. I mean, maybe, but no, it's that, like, Nick Rogers is here. My friend Nick is here. All these people are here. They are here. I can only think from the future, because I was going to warn them. So to think that, like, you know, she does the vagina portal on me in my dirtiest hour, dude, while I'm out here in the... It might even be with a condom on, honestly, but she's still doing it. In my dirtiest hour in this nursing home. And to think that, like, somehow it's like, it in her and all this stuff and you doesn't come down to my ability to finish my homework and give everybody a proper warning and just make sure that they're ready for the Lord Jesus Christ. Who no one can hide from the Lord Jesus Christ. You know, I believe in my ability to warn my friends about Truman. To the point where I think that I don't even think Truman even has, I don't even think it's crossed Truman's mind, like, should I ask these people? Because if you ask, is like, you already got Putin and Obama. You already got these guys. They'll do a lot of stuff for you. You got these great heads of blasphemy. And one of them's like Putin, one of them's Obama and all this stuff. One of them was probably El Chapo. One of them was probably El Chapo, dude. Being a king. You know, but he's like a king, like you look at Obama. It's like, he's a puppet. He's 10 heads, 10 puppets. 10 heads of blasphemy, 10 puppets. Perhaps. But it's, you know, are you controlling my friends as puppets? Or was that actually itself always going to get you caught? I have to think that was always going to get you caught. You can't say you want to stalk Dickie. That's going to get you in trouble. Probably just like the Bible says, you can't go around, you can't do the stock dicky thing. That one thing was going to get you in trouble. That is a very girly thing to do, and that's a very long time to do it. Is to be the female plug of my male plug every day, and then deny that I'm the only person that can even supply the male plug or the female plug. I'm the only person that can supply the female plug, being the mind reading. No one knows the thoughts of man but his own spirit. You can't even start with the mind reading unless you start with who gave it to you. And who gave it to you? Well, I mean, you have it in the you have mind reading now. And I didn't make it now, which means I go back in time. I go back in time and put my property where in a designed place. It makes no sense to think that I'm losing. I'm not losing. And there's all this time, and God is great. And God picked me. God picked me for Ezekiel and Revelation. Because my faith is great. And I'm a good example. I was a full package douche mega president. I can help clear the whole way for the Lord. Big muscles. Lots of muscles. I'm very happy. I'm at this point, I'm 306 pounds. And if you look at me, it's just like, honestly, like, this is like, I'll just show you, dude. It's like, I'm just going to take off my shirt. This is my body. And my medicine makes me gain weight. With my medicine, I gained 20 pounds. I gained 20 pounds in 2 weeks because of my medicine Risperdal, and it makes you gain weight. My medicine Risperdal made me gain 20 pounds in 2 weeks. This psychotic medication, this antipsychotic medication, makes you gain weight. I'm 6'2" and I'm 300 pounds. This is 300 pounds. 300-pound guy looks like this. 300-pound guy looks like this, or something a lot bigger than this. I'm 300 pounds. I'm 306 pounds. And I'm fat, and I haven't been working out at all, dude. I haven't been working out one bit. I haven't done a single push-up in years. I haven't done a single push-up since LA Fitness 2014. I haven't worked out since 2014, pretty much. I mean, every once in a while, I picked up running for a little bit. I haven't worked out since I was a personal trainer back in 2014. And I was only a personal trainer for about a year, and then I got derailed and all this stuff, blah blah. Then Pearl winds up back over here and doing all this stuff. Oh my God! You can't make this stuff my business 2 times in a row, dude. Apparently 2 times in a row was too many. And then God sweeps you up over and over and over. So anyway, I gotta go get my food. But the rest is, I'm excited because I really think that those murals were the other 2 girls and all that stuff. I think you're gonna hear this, and I think that's gonna excite you. And then you're gonna be like, "Wow, is that actually the bull one is mine?" And I'll tell you that the bear one's Pearl's, and the eagle one's the other ones, because they were all 3 night terrors about the same person. And I explained the night terrors already, so I don't know. I think I might be doing less videos, but because at this point now it's about how Ezekiel and Revelation runs into the invention of time travel, and the invention of time travel always goes first with this CloneyDrone. Highly sharp cutting edge, highly innovative, highly advanced, and highly compact, and all the stuff going on in that stuff. It's a weapon. It is a weapon, and it's my Mars Beginning weapon, and for time travel, all this stuff. So, all this stuff, I explained it all. It's about kind of putting the rubber to the road, and me making my website and stuff like that. I might go outside and come back in and take a shower and stuff and get working on my website a little bit more. But, my deepest kiss I can't do anything else, honestly. This whole thing is so crazy, and I'm so sorry that it all worked out this way. And it really seems like I'm sorry that I didn't keep playing football. I don't know why I don't play football, but the only thing is that me not playing football ends up being this huge and waking indicator, because by the time I become the time traveling president, you already know is that football was a fluke. Football was a fluke, but it was a perfect fluke. It was a fluke of perfection, and a fluke that somehow winds its way up probably in the canon somehow. Is that I should have played football back there. I wanted to. I love football. I love playing sports, dude. I love playing sports and having fun. And I love sports, and I have a new passion for football. And football is fun, but I didn't really like football much at the time. That's kind of shows. But you'll also see, like, when you do the time travel, and you go back, is you'll see this guy who was expecting to play for 4 years. He was expecting to play for 4 years, and then if he wasn't gonna play, he was gonna quit at the end of the season. I think that's what you'll see, is like this guy who like was gonna, because that's how I remember it, is like I expected to play. And then but whatever else is like, I mean, maybe he didn't want to play nose tackle for 4 years. Well, he was gonna quit, in a way that was respectful. But like what I remember at the time is I was a little out of control at the time. And it's just like the same kind of lack of control that I learned to pick up back here, which is just like sometimes people do, or sometimes you're outpowered and you gotta dig deep for your power. And so here's my power and all this stuff is like, well, let's talk about binary, and let's talk about the news. Let's talk about these videos and binary computing. We can solve all this stuff with the little binary computer. So that's about my cue right there to probably start packing this up. It's been over an hour, so thank you everybody for listening. Peace, and take rest. The party of the Lord is near, dude. The party of the Lord is absolutely imminent. So I hope we can enjoy. Bon potluck.